Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. Footy feels like it is back at last. None of this KO stuff filmed out of a potato. We're getting the crisp stuff through the airwaves now. And it really does feel like it's close. And that's because it is close. And that means we got to really start to hone in on some positions. None of this chopping and changes, and we'll change it later. We got to start to find the sweet spot. So I'm just having a bit of a look at St Kilda and Essendon. But today I thought I would just track through last night's 3 games, because doing a massive review on Sunday or Monday, it turns out to be a whopper video. So I thought it'd just be easier to just chop out 3 of them, break things up, and by the time we get to Sunday, the Thursday games seem so old. So it was a triple header last night. Take a look at those games in the moment. I'll tell a couple of stories in the meantime. But after the stories, I've got one for you. Last time I looked, he's in 1% of teams. And I am in that 1%. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but give me a moment. Let me tell a couple of stories, and I'll drop that one in there for you. You should have seen throughout the week, right? I used to collect N64 games, Nintendo 64. Back in the day, it's amazing how much time you thought you used to have. I would just track Gumtree. Yeah, that's right, Gumtree. That's before Marketplace took off. And eBay, looking for bargains. Then I'd flip them. I was a little N64 flipper. Buy Mario Kart for $42, sell it for $68. I'd be like, oh, money. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Anyway, I'm just years on. I've still got a few, and I don't play them, you know. So I thought, well, I'll just sell them. I'll put them on Marketplace. Anyway, this guy, real keen. He wanted my Banjo Tooie. Fantastic. Come round, mate. Sounds good. $95 I got for it. Not too bad at all. Sweet. Anyway, he rocked up, and I was like, hey, mate, how you going? I'll just go get the game. I came back out, and he sort of had his hands like in a scoop kind of thing. And I'm thinking, what the hell are you doing, bro? Like, it's not how I hold my notes anyway. So I get closer to him, and I see a 50. Yep, cool, fantastic. A couple of 10s, rightio. The blokes give me a $50 note, a 10, another 10, and a 5. And then he's hit me with $20 worth of gold coins. A large majority $1. Come on, man. That's poor. That's poor. What are we doing here? Have you ever had a weird-ass marketplace experience? That is probably on the lower end of weird, but gee, it had me thinking, come on, man. Like, I understand if we got to chuck a couple of gold coins around because you didn't have a $5 note or something, but $20, mate? Come on, you're killing me. What am I going to do with that? Chuck it in the bottom of my car. Ugh, anyway. And I'm getting some concrete done around the house too. I'll tell you what, there's nothing quite as brutal as waking up to the noise of machinery. Jesus Christ. That'll wake you up. I was probably only 5 or 10 minutes off waking up anyway. But, geez, they get the tools going nice and early, I'll tell you what. So it's happened. This was day 2 of the tools, and day 1, we're getting some work done down the side here. And I have a fair bit of stuff down the side. So I was like, don't worry, mate, I'll clear that for you. All good. Didn't do it. I'm in the shower, half naked. I'm like, fuck, I didn't clear the stuff. And they're like moving things around, probably bad-mouthing me. I've like, I'll bloody chuck some shorts on and some bloody me shirt. Just whipped out there. Sorry, mate, forgot about the down the side. I'll just move that old barbecue and move that bloody cardboard box that's been there for 10 years. Chaos. I'll tell you what, I don't know how it would have looked to him, but you do not want to converse with me at 7:30 in the morning. Absolute corpse. Absolute corpse. You do not want to see it. But let's get into, well, not quite the video, but some other things. Shorty's SuperCoach group. Now, I will be doing the leagues this weekend. I will be mapping those out. I'll do a video as to when I'll drop the leagues and how many I'll be doing. So really keen for you guys to be a part of that. I know a few of you were talking about a draft league, and I did mention that. I just don't think I'm going to have the capacity. I do apologise. I really want to do a draft league. It's a combination of we haven't heard back from many of my winners of my SuperCoach leagues wanting to get involved. And I'm just so busy. I'm almost looking at ways of trying to not condense my videos, but just I don't think I want to be adding to my my workload at the moment. I'm just trying to find that work-life balance a little bit better. So my apologies, but there will be plenty of Shorty SuperCoach leagues, which will drop soon. But in the meantime, I'd love for you to get involved. This will be in the comments anyway, but 762-994. And the footy tipping as well. I think you just got to have this link. Maybe you can search Shorty SuperCoach up on the footy tips as well, but this will be in the comments also. I don't know if it just rolls over. Like, I've got a few people from last year as well. So I'm not too sure. Hopefully it does just roll over. But yeah, if you'd like to get involved in some tipping, absolutely get around it as well. Now, my 1% man. Plays for St Kilda. Change of role. Awkward price. No dual position. But he will get dual position after 5 or 6 rounds or whatever it is when they change it over. Nasiah Wanganeen Malira. About 300k. And I'm not sure where he's at. He was having some nice numbers halfway through the third before. How many touches we got now? And I don't know if he's using the ball well or not, but he's certainly getting a bit of the pill. 16 touches. He's a distributor. 14 kicks, 2 handballs, deep into the third. So I wouldn't mind if he just ends up with 23, 24, 25 touches. He's taken a few kick-ins. Handball receives. They want to go through him. Highly talented player. I'm just saying, it's got a bit of the Chris Yarrans about it. Remember when Yarran went to halfback, high draft pick, hadn't quite made it anywhere else? Boom. I'm just putting it out there. I know he's only midfield, but after round 5 or 6, swing him back in his dual position defence. It's just something to think about. Now, I'm going to take a look at these 3 games, which is the whole point of this video. But I've really got sidetracked there. Let's take a look at Hawthorn and Collingwood. And there was a bit to take away from this match, I must admit. So we'll dive into that right about now. Would love to know who you were really keeping a close eye on as well. Now, I'm just going to go through, probably dive straight into a few of the players that this fantasy relevant thing down the bottom is always a good one just to jog my memory. So we'll go through a few of them. Now, I will take a look at some stats. And I think the number one guy that came out for me in this match was James Worpel. Now, I know there's nothing sexy about him. He's maybe not the quickest guy. He's not the best user of the ball. But if you're getting 30 touches, 9 clearances, half of them contested, I mean, this guy's averaged high 90s before. And it's obvious as to why his footy struggled. O'Meara, Mitchell, same type of player, just better. They go. Worpel's going to slide right into that spot. And I think it's his and Newcomb's midfield. And I think they're just going to get in there. And look, at around 300k as well, I know it's a bit against the old Guns and Rookies, but I'm starting to mix a bit more mid-price in there just because Guns and Rookies hasn't worked as well for me the last couple of years, and we do have more trades. So I'm going to try and get a bit more depth across my team, try and spread that cash, and then trade quickly. But I think you definitely have to consider Worpel. All depends on your structure. Tom Mitchell as well. He played how he needed to play to convince me. 8 kicks, 20 handballs. I don't know. He'll definitely average 100, no doubt. But at this price, you probably need him to go and average 105, 110. I just don't know if his numbers are going to... I don't know. They've got a lot of Pies midfielders running through the guts. He'll get plenty of opportunity. I just don't know if he's going to average 111 or 104. And I know it's not that big of a difference, but it is. It's 7 points per game, and it's the difference between keeping the bloke all year and umming and ahhing about him all year. Not sure. Is he damaging enough? We know you'd prefer a kicker in SuperCoach. We know that's beneficial, but he does win heaps of contested ball, tackles. I'm going to have to ponder that one, but he did play very well. Cam Mackenzie, I think he just about puts himself into the team, or your team. He'll definitely be in the Hawks team. I was watching the game and this fresh blonde youngster walks into the centre bounce. I'm like, fuck, Sam Mitchell's wound back the clock. He's got the blonde locks back. But no, it's Cam Mackenzie. So 24 touches look real good. Got to consider. James Sicily, solid, no concerns, nothing crazy. Going to be a good player again. Will Day, I think 20 touches was a pretty solid output. Bit more midfield time. I just don't think we can select him. Really handy option for your draft. But I don't think he's a guy we should go with. If only he was a smidgen cheaper, it's just not quite enough reward for the risk that we'd really have to put out there. It's a no from me, but a definite improver. Nick Dacos, Sam Mitchell is brutal. Goes out and tags Nick Dacos in a pracky game. Nick would have been warming up going, how good's this? I'm just going to waltz around, get 27 posies. Finn McGuinness comes up, shakes his hand and says, bro, I'll be with you all day. That's rough. At the start of March. Sammy, ruthless. Anyway, honestly, he'll get tagged throughout the year and he'll probably struggle with it. Otherwise, I still think he's a great option, but I must admit that performance did give me a little bit of cold feet as to how susceptible he is to a tag. Not every team tags, not every team will tag Nick, but anyway, it's food for thought, something to think about. The biggest warning sign was Darcy Cameron. 18 hit-outs. Mason Cox had 28 and did start in the centre bounce quite regularly as well. Honestly, you got to put a line through him. That's done and dusted for me in terms of Cameron. I'm really scared off by that. And Marshall's tearing it up as we speak. So cut it whichever way you like. I think he has to come out of your team. Dylan Moore ripping half a footy, 43% time on ground, 15 touches, 2 goals. He was fantastic. I don't know. Fergus Green, definitely a great option. Will kick a few goals. Is probably just going to be a solid 50 to 70 averager. Probably closer to your 60 mark. But, otherwise there wasn't a great deal else that I think I wanted to speak about. So quite a bit in that game, I must admit. There was quite a bit to talk about. So would love to hear how many of those guys are in your team. And it is worth noting that they are pracky games. It's not to be chopping and changing at every performance that we see, but it does give us an indication of how it could look. And this match, I didn't watch this game, but looking at the stats before, there's definitely a few players that put their hand up. Will Brodie looks like he's going to just continue doing what he did last year. Who would have thought he could have produced such footy since coming across? It's been great. But Andy Brayshaw, he is just going to take his game continually to the next level. I think he could really be one of the top mids. I'm really trying to get him into my team. He's been in my team for quite a bit now. Interestingly, when you think Andy Brayshaw, do you think inside ball winner? Because I do. And I was really interested to see, in terms of the contested ball, Andy Brayshaw from 36 touches. Look at that. 6 contested possessions. 30 uncontested. Well, it's got 25, so I don't know where those other 5 touches came from. But strange. Real strange. I don't know what to say to you about that. It's just weird. He's a good inside player, but yeah, just weird. Sarong as well. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's Brayshaw and Sarong's midfield. He's at an awkward price, but I do expect him to average high 90s, early 100s. Be my guest if you're feeling dangerous. He can really play though. He can seriously play. Rosie did very nicely. I think he's a lock. Jordan Clark and Miles Bergman, just a couple of young rebounding types. Don't mind them. Not for SuperCoach, but not for Classic. Keep them under your hat, though, for draft. Horn Francis, I just don't think he's worth the punt. He'll have some really good performances, no doubt, but he's a second-year player. I don't know. It's not for me. He could turn out to average 90 and could be really solid, but it's just not for me on this occasion. I'm happy to buy elsewhere, just with the other options we have in the forward line. If he was the same type of player and available as a defender, I'd probably be all over it, but I'm pretty comfortable with my setup in the forward line. Hayden Young, probably without seeing the game, didn't do a great deal. So if you're a Hayden Young owner out there or you're interested, let me know if that was enough for you or if that has you concerned. Because on the surface, maybe some concerns, because he's almost day cost versus Young in that sort of 500k mark, next generation superstar type of player. Oh, I also forgot to mention live sessions this year will continue. I'm probably looking at doing a set day, so I'm really hoping Wednesday night will be the go, but I'll just assess it. But they will be back. I'll do one of the week of round 1 just to answer all your questions and that. So I'll do my best to get around all the comments on the videos, but it doesn't always happen. But they'll be back this year. I'm looking forward to them. Zach Butters, almost put a line through him. I just don't think he's quite delivering where he should be just yet. I don't know why, but he really needed to show us a bit more than that, I think, because he has let us down a few times. I think he's a star on the rise. He's been a star, but I think he is just not where we'd want him to be if you're looking to select him this year. And Nat Fyfe, 3 goals, 15 touches. How good's that? No. Not for SuperCoach. Stop. It's a no from me. Nah, honestly, that's a little bit harsh, but I don't like the position at all. I hate the fact that he's a forward. He'll have days where he kicks 3. He'll also have days where he kicks 0 goals 4 and has 14 touches and scores 64. So, I don't know. He probably only needs to have 6 to 8 good games, start the season well. He's going to make you a lot of cash. I understand the rationale, but I'm happy to put my chips elsewhere. I get the hype, but I just hate that position. I really do. I hate it. I want to see Nat in the guts, but it's just not that style anymore. Anyway, and then I'm not sure there was too much else. I'll just go over to the old match report and just see if anything can trig my memory in the old fantasy bit. But yeah, I'll probably miss some players. Matty Johnson, probably a rookie option at some stage, but didn't look like he was best 22. Pretty tough midfield to break into. Looks like we covered it off pretty well. I'll be happy to leave it at that one. And then we'll look at Geelong and Brisbane, which, honestly, I don't think there was a stack to come out of that. It was a super boring game. I turned over to the cricket. I've never turned a Cats game off in my life, unless we've been getting pumped. And I wasn't even that frustrated by it. It was just a weird game. There was no atmosphere. Geelong didn't look super interested. Lions definitely looked really, really good. And they had a bit more to... I think they're really gunning for round 1, the Lions. They're on a mission where it looks like the Cats were a bit like, well, yeah, we'll be right come round 1, but we're just chilling, getting a tan up here at the moment. But going through it, Neil, for some reason not as popular this year. Everyone's looking Oliver over Neil, but he'll continue to be a star. Dunkley, honestly, been a star all pre-season, probably been the guy I've been on the most. First player locked into your side. I've been saying that since December. Nothing changes. Will Ashcroft, again, massive lock. Did everything we wanted to see. Going to be a superstar. Tom Stewart, look, I wouldn't get too concerned. The Cats had it in gear too. They were barely rolling, and Stewart will continue to be a solid player. Tanner Bruin, if opportunity in round 1 presents itself, not the worst option. Not for me, I wouldn't go it. But he is a guy that has to be considered. Really good in and under player. If he gets that inside mid-roll or a bit more of a rotation, he could be very, very interesting. And one of the biggest crimes was that Jack Bowes. Jack Bowes? Yeah, Jack Bowes. Jeez. I've been saying that name all pre-season, then I just said it and double thought it anyway. He not playing really hurt because I like what he did in that match sim, but it was a bit half forward, it was a bit mid, it was a bit all over the place. So I really wanted to see in a more structured game where he lined up. So it'd be unlikely for me to select him. I really wanted to have a look at him, but still, he showed plenty of promise. Connor McKenna, I'm probably happy to leave out, to be honest, unless there are minimal options around in the defensive rookie. But, we've got guys like, I think Wilmot looked pretty good. You've got Constable showed a bit. There's a couple of Carlton rookies that are looking like round one starters. You've got Jimby. There's a few guys. I don't know if McKenna showed enough. He was okay, but he's in the mix. Tom Atkins, I know the stats aren't great, but he could, for your draft team, be a really sneaky option. He looks like he's going to play midfield. Could be real handy. Last night, just, got in and under. Didn't come super easy for him, but he can definitely average 85, 90, I reckon. And Darcy Wilmot just had the 9 touches. Don't know if he's going to be a great fantasy option, but he could definitely have some reasonable job security. Exciting player. Again, another guy to keep in the mix for your defensive rookies. Asava Radaglia, 10 touches. The spot's his now. Jack Henry going down certainly was fantastic for him. Not great for the Cats, but he is going to play round 1. He's going to intercept mark. He's going to show a few signs, and then he won't touch the ball for 25 minutes. So that's sort of the ride you get with it. But he's not the worst option at all. He'll have days where he just plucks a few, gets a couple of easy intercepts where the ball just bounces his way. He scores 91. And he'll also have days where you're like, fuck, is he out there? Is Sav injured? And you'll check and, oh, fuck, he's had 7 touches. We're halfway through the third. So it'll happen. But at that price, he's worth having a look at. And honestly, I don't think there was much more else other than that. It was a bit of a strange game. Minimal intensity. Real glorified match sim it was. There wasn't much about it at all. But yeah, I think all the names we covered off pretty solidly. So I'm going to wrap it up there because these videos by nature are fairly long. But I really want to get this one uploaded before 7 o'clock and have that out to you. And then, it's Friday night, baby. Looking forward to that. Just going to kick back, catch up with a mate, go over the old man's, watch a bit of footy, and then play a bit of tennis, maybe a bit of golf over the weekend. So it's set up pretty nicely. But yeah, if you're interested, get involved in the SuperCoach group, get involved in the footy tipping. Would love to hear your thoughts on who's taking your fancy. And Wanganeen Malira, just keep him in mind. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Cheers, guys.